And I mean, you look at that squad now, there really shouldn't be any unhappy dissenting voices in there. Even the likes of, let's say a Matt Doherty, who maybe thought he was going to get away, will probably get a fair few minutes now as the window goes on. Maybe the one you could say you'd probably have a bit of grievance would be Joe Rodon. I thought he might go out on loan this month. I think he thought he probably would go out on loan this month. There was interest from clubs in France, Spain, Premier League, but nothing that really attracted him and Spurs to let him go. But yeah, and even that, I don't get the impression that Joe Rodon in any way is, someone that will voice those disappointments or kind of rock the boat in any way. And that's not to say others have, but clearly they were very big players or expensive players not playing, and that maybe creates more of a tension and an issue than for a younger, defender who, to be fair, has come in from Swansea, and maybe has slightly less expectation placed on them. I like Joe Rodon though. I think if he gets a few chances, I think he will show what he can do. And just, especially being unlucky, he's had a rib injury recently, which has kind of maybe stopped Conte picking him in that central role, because he is the backup to Eric Dyer. He's kind of been there and thereabouts on the bench, but hasn't really been fit enough, I don't think, to really play a big role. And I mean, if you're going to look at it in the cold light of day, 4 players went out, only 2 came in. So yes, in terms of numbers, probably the squad has been weakened in that respect, but I would probably counter that, I guess, if you're going to play devil's advocate, with the fact that there were players who weren't really going to play. They just weren't. Conte kind of made that clear. I mean, remember that last game, it was against Chelsea, wasn't it? Harvey White was on the bench. Lo Celso was not. Tanguy Ndombele was not. Dele Alli was not. Those players were, they might have been reassimilated into team to play some games, but they were never really seriously going to be an option. And you look at the squad now, Conte made it very clear he wanted, in his ideal squad, would have 2 players for every position. Not less, not more. I think that was the kind of the right amount for him. That's, 22 players plus another keeper. I mean, 23-man squad, which is probably about right. I think Poch used to like a 24-man squad? I think he used to like. He's almost got it, the 2-man for every. Obviously, he hasn't got another striker. There's no Harry Kane backup. That's not there. That is still, as I quite grossly realised I described as earlier, as a festering hole within the squad. Because it is a problem that is festering. It is just sticking there and getting worse and not being fixed. But elsewhere, if you're going to look at Japhet Tanganga as the backup left-sided centre-back, got Rodon in the middle, there is 2 for every role. There is. Maybe say that Kulusevski, Bergwijn and Lucas are maybe all more right-sided players, but all 3 of them can play on the left if required. But other than that, yeah, there are 2 for every position, apart from the striker. So it is kind of what he wanted in that regard. There's a few of the young players they didn't send out on loan, like Harvey White, like Jamie Bowden was brought back from Oldham and not sent out again. And obviously they'll be there or thereabouts if needed. Because this is the problem. Yes, I get it that he wants a lean, hungry squad. But in a season when you can not only have injuries, but you can also have COVID issues and obviously suspensions, all the other usual stuff, I just wonder whether this is not the season to have a smaller, leaner squad. I mean, yeah, again, he could say in response, Spurs are not in the Europa Conference League anymore. They're not going to appeal. It's a bit late now anyway. I think the games are being played in about a fortnight. But yeah, it went to their lawyers and they decided not to appeal. So Spurs don't have that extra element of the European matches in midweeks. They're going to have a few, obviously, rescheduled games. But really, it's not going to be an absolute nightmare in terms of, obviously, if they could progress in the FA Cup, they'll have more matches. But I don't think it's going to be the absolute pile-up, which would have given a lot of fringe players minutes that it would have had if the European competition was still going on. So, somewhere in the middle. Excuse me, Just trying to think about it. It is more of a Conte squad. You got Christian Romero's back in, should hopefully be back this weekend. We'll find out more on Friday, but he must be ready now. Conte's excited about working with him properly now. He's going to build that defence around him. You've got Sonny should be back as well, really. Hopefully back for this weekend. Again, another one we'll find out the final kind of prognosis, as it were. They were both pretty close just before the international break, so you'd imagine 2 weeks later they'll be ready. So that's two big players to come back. I think if you look across a fair bit of the squad, there's good options. Central midfield's got good options. Centre-back now with Romero back is a bit of a different beast. You've got Hugo Lloris fresh from his new contracts in goal. Left-backs, I feel that there's two really good left wing-backs there who are going to develop. I think Reguilon needs to learn how to be a wing-back, which I think he will, because I do think it actually suits his attributes. Ryan Sessegnon will continue to develop, especially under someone like Conte. Attacking midfield, you've got Bergwijn, Lucas, Kulusevski, Sonny. So that's four kind of players all flitting around that as well. Yes, you've lost that deeper attacking midfielder that Dele, Giovanni Lo Celso and Tongi would have brought you. That hasn't been replaced, but those who I speak to who kind of watch a lot of Conte football in the past tell me that he doesn't really play with those kind of players. It's very much about more functional players in the middle that can get the ball quickly to whether it's a 3 up front or a 2 up front. And there's a lot of focus on those wing backs as well to create. Left side, we know they will. Right back clearly is still an issue. Emerson Royale is only 22. He's going to have to be worked on. He's going to have to really work on that final product. Not only the crossing, but also being at the other end of crosses from the left, being the guy at the back. And that's something that Matt Doherty used to do really well at Wolves. He may get more chances to show, what he can do. Like I say, I thought he did well against Leicester. Thought he had an impact. Very much not so against Chelsea. Him and Sessegnon both playing as more orthodox wingers weren't great at all. Maybe that's from coming slightly further up the pitch rather than coming from deeper positions. Maybe that affected their ability to run on and create. But I think Doherty will get chances. And it's up to him to show that he can offer more than Emerson Royale can. There's enough there. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I've seen a lot of different reactions on social media. I've seen people saying it was the most horrendous transfer window ever. It was like, I've seen people say 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. I've seen other people saying it was a terrific transfer window and a lot of the stuff was done. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I'd probably give it a 6, a push. I'd say getting those players out was a big thing for Conte. And I think you'll see that. I think he'll have a very malleable squad now, a real one he can mould, and that all will buy into what he wants them to do. And that's crucial for a coach.